Welcome back to my channel, everybody. In this week's video I tackled the cabinet that is behind me. You might have seen in last Thursday's video I made the epic IKEA CD unit built-in trinket storage cabinet. Well, in that video I was saying how the cabinet behind me, I wanted to turn it into some practical storage. It was full of clutter. I've made some curtains for it. It's looking tidy now. Before I get straight into the video, if you're new to my channel, please do hit the subscribe button and check out my recent videos. If you like what you see, make sure you're subbed. Welcome to the fam. I'm gonna get straight into this week's video. Here's what I got up to. So just ignore the clothes rail on that left hand corner, but this is the nook that I've been working on. So if you saw last Thursday's video, you would have seen I made my epic teacup wall, which I'm very proud of. Still need to sort out the wonky knob, but we'll say no more. So this is the cabinet that I want to turn in more of a storage cabinet. So at the moment there's just kind of like a lot of clutter in it, and I want to use this as more of a practical storage, because something I've noticed is upstairs in this room, I have the ensuite over there. I'm always running out of space for towels and some extra bed linen and stuff, so I wanted to turn this into more of a linen press. My plan is I am going to put curtains on the doors, and then that way I can take, like, all of this is going to be coming out. I'm going to make a bookshelf in the living room for all of the books that's here, so then at least they're all in one place. So I got some fabric today. I got like a nice striped fabric, which I'll show you, and I have some of the curtain rod stuff left over that I used to make a curtain for the washing machine. So I'm going to use that to make curtains for the inside of this, so that way I will have a lovely, like, there is lovely wallpaper on the inside of this cabinet, but I want to just have fabric on it so it's just nice and neutral. It's not fussy. You can't see what's inside of it, and I've made more of a practical storage solution. Also, this cabinet that is behind me was an old Mexican pine dresser, like a dresser top, and I think I used Gorilla Glue and I put Queen Anne legs onto it, and I'm gonna dig into the archives. I think I did this project about like 6 or 7 years ago. I'm gonna see if I can find some old footage, because it's still painted in the same color that I did years ago. So I'm gonna see if I can find old footage on this cabinet, and I'm gonna insert it here so you can see what it would look like in the beginning. So this is roughly what this piece looked like when I got it secondhand. I got it for €50 off a secondhand site, and I'd say I bought it in probably about 2015, 2016. So let's go back to 2017 when the hair was a bit blonder and the painting skills were not as good. I remember using this as fabric storage at one point, but I had painted it in some leftover paint from my kitchen at the time. I think that is Authentico Frozen Fountain, I think is the color. So I had repainted it pink because I was doing up my bedroom upstairs, and I painted it in Farrow Ball, and I also wallpapered the inside. Something else I did, and I remember at the time, I remember putting legs on this. I got Queen Anne legs from Lenahans, and I used Gorilla Glue to stick them on, and I used my car jack to lift the piece up so I could stick legs on it, which I thought was really clever at the time. Now in hindsight, Gorilla Glue, the legs have stayed on, but I do think I need to drill those legs in, because I don't know how it's lasted. So on the sewing table today, so this is some of the rod that I had left over, so I'll leave a link to this, because one packet of this you can do loads, and I still have some of the little eyes as well, so I'm going to put that aside. So this is what I'm going to be using as the rod. I just picked up some thread as well, and then this is the fabric. So I just got a meter of this. I think I'll have plenty. So it's a nice creamy, but there's a white stripe in it as well. It's kind of got not a pinky hue, there is a nice beige tone to it. Now I am going to be, it is hopefully going to have a couple of pleats in it, or like a bit of a gather or ruffle, so I'll lose some of, you might not see some of the stripe, but I just think, yeah, I think it'll be nice as a curtain, nice and neutral. The first thing I'm going to do is measure out and maybe make a template. I'm going to have a look through my scrap fabric stash. I need to figure out how wide, so if you want to have a lot of gather when you're making a fabric panel, you will have to stitch it wider. So if you want to get like the perfect size, maybe play around with some scrap fabric or old bed sheets. Now I did make a curtain for the washing machine from an old bed sheet, so I might see if I have some of that fabric left over and just make a little template. You can also use brown paper as well, just because my fabric, it was €20 a metre and I don't want to cut it wrong. So it's alright when you're using a cheap roll of fabric, but she was spendy, 20 quid a metre, but I think it's worth it. So make a template if you're ever in doubt. It is going to take you a bit longer, but you're going to get it perfect off the first go. Measure twice, cut once, that's the phrase. So the first thing I did was I measured the width and then I added on 2 inches. So 1 inch for either side because I'm going to put a hem on the raw edge. I hope that makes sense. Then when I measured the length, I added on extra because you're going to have some fabric for the tunnel on the top, and then another inch or inch and a half for a hem on the bottom. Before stitching it, I just had to play around to see how it was going to look on the cabinet. The first thing I stitched was the hem on either side of the panel, so the length. So I folded it over 1/2 inch and I pressed it with my iron, and then I folded it over another 1/2 inch, added some pins and did a straight stitch down either side. Once both of the sides of the panel of fabric were stitched, I worked on the bottom and top. So just like I did with side panels, on the bottom piece I did a hem, and for the top I actually used the selvage of the fabric and I folded it over, and I just checked that I had enough room for the rod to go through, and I did a straight stitch. I used a wire cutter to cut some of that curtain rod to size. There is a bit of a stretch in it, so cut it first before sticking those little circle things in them because they're very hard to get out afterwards. So if you do need to adjust the size, try and do it before you stick the hook and eye into it. Now I didn't do it, but what you could do if you wanted the fabric to be more secure, or if you had loads of gather and you wanted to keep the pleat, you could do a tunnel on the end, and you could also do a curtain rod for the bottom. I just hemmed it. I don't have much of a pleat with my fabric, but that is also an option that you could do. I decluttered my cabinet because I want to use it as more practical storage. So I was able to do a shelf of books in my living room. I'll show you that in a future video. And then some of the china cups, I actually put some in a charity box, and then the other ones I have space in the living room cabinets that I'm able to put it in. A little disclaimer, I have to say that the cabinet, while it looks very minimal and tidy on the inside, there is more towels to go in and bed linen. I just put those few bits in so they look pretty for the video, but you know, real life, it's probably gonna have lots more towels stacked to the top, and it's gonna be full to the brim with linen and stuff. So while that looked pretty for the video, it'll probably, yeah, end up being things falling out on top of myself, but I'm going to try not to. My goal is practical storage, but minimal as well. I don't want to have lots of clutter and things, and what I do have, I want to have them stored nicely. So I hope you got some inspiration for like an alternative storage solution. So if you don't have, maybe you're renting, maybe you've gotten a free piece of furniture and you don't really know what to do with it, so think out the box when it comes to storage. So a cabinet like that, while it's cool as a display cabinet, if you want to give it a new lease of life, put some curtains on it, it can hide what's inside. That could be a cool like art cupboard, it could be a book cupboard as well, it could be anything you want to. All you gotta do is put some curtains on it and no one knows what's inside. Also, if you're not into sewing, you can probably follow the steps, except when it comes to hemming, you could use that, is it called Bondaweb or Wonderweb? It's like a iron-on hem glue fabric thing. It's like, I think they call it Wonderweb because it looks like kind of spider webs. And when you fold over the raw hem, the way you would have saw me doing it in the sewing part of this video, and I did a straight stitch, you would put your Bondaweb in between and you would just iron the hem. So you could totally do this without sewing if you have some of that, or you could probably do like maybe a glue gun, but I don't know, glue gun might give you bulky bits of glue. So if you are not a sewer, you could still do this. But yeah, get some Bondaweb. You'll get it online easy enough. You'll get it in sewing shops. Haberdasheries will have it. You can buy it in a packet. You can buy it by like the meter as well, but you don't need a lot. You can get a strip of it and you could do it too. So slowly but surely this corner is getting less cluttered and more tidy. I like the fabric that I went for as well. I think it matches the paint and stuff. You can check out last week's video if you want to learn more about the paint and stuff, because I gave this a fresh lick of paint in this corner. It was a much more vibrant pink, but I kind of calmed it down a little bit, but I just wanted to keep the warmth. So I'll link to that video, I'll put the card in and you can check that one out. That's me for this Thursday's video. I will see you in Sunday's video. And also next Thursday will be I think the last video of the year, because we're getting close to Christmas. So I'll say it again in next week's video, but just for my regular viewers, the Thursday before Christmas, I think the 23rd, is it, will be my last video of the year, and then I will take Christmas break off like I do every year, and I'll be back in January then. So yeah, oh, what'll I do for the last video of the year? I might do some, I don't know, maybe some crafts, some last minute crafts, I don't know. I'll put my thinking cap on, but I will see you in the next video anyway.